Welcome, everyone. My name is Brenda Selden. Welcome to the Travelers from the Stars. I'm a channeler, energy healer, and since 2013, an experiencer and contactee. In 2013, I was contacted by interdimensional beings who I now know as the Travelers. At the time, they had asked me to channel their messages, and they told me they had come specifically to Earth on a mission to help humanity evolve and ready themselves to begin to explore the stars and eventually create home worlds on other planets and in other systems. And so there began my ongoing, at this point, almost 9-year experience connecting with and working in tandem with the Travelers. And in today's episode, I would like to share with you one of my experiences with what I call the summer of flyovers. There was a period between 2013 and 2015 where I experienced many different types of flyovers of unidentified aerial phenomena. In 2017, I would just like to say that I was led to begin taking photographs and videos on my cell phone camera of the Travelers and their energies. And behind me is one of the photographs that I took. And this photograph most closely resembles the phenomena that I saw that night. So the night that I experienced this particular flyover was 2014. This photograph is from February of 2021. So let me bring this photograph closer online and then begin to share with you my most interesting tale of what I call the meteor that was actually a UFO. So as I share with you, you can see here that on the upper left-hand corner, I always like to point out that you are seeing my photograph directly from my Google Photos account. All my photographs and videos are unfiltered, unmanipulated, not photoshopped in any way. So what I took that night, what I saw is exactly what I'm showing you. So let me set the scene. You live in this small rural town. You decide you're going to take a walk with your dogs that night because it's a lovely night and you love gazing out at the stars. And in my case, I took a street that went upwards to the top of my hill because my little neighborhood is situated on a small hill. And when I got to the top, I started looking up at the sky to see if I could recognize any of the constellations. And within a moment or two, I see this huge luminous ball of light hurtling across the sky. And it was flying very low. It was just above the rooftops. And as I'm seeing that, I literally froze in place. This ball of light was the size of a Mini Cooper. And my first thought was, is this a cataclysmic extinction event? Or is this just going to destroy part of my neighborhood? Either way, I thought to myself, I'm going to wait. And when I hear the first sounds of an explosion, I'm going to run home and I'm going to call emergency personnel. I'm going to call police, fire department. And so I'm waiting there, unable to move, my heart pounding really quickly. As I'm watching it go over the rooftops, once it disappeared over the horizon line, I just kept waiting. I knew the direction it was headed in was an area that was filled with homes. And I waited, 5 seconds passed. And I waited, 10 seconds passed. And I kept waiting until I knew a few minutes had passed. And I knew it was impossible that what at that time I thought was a meteor hadn't struck Earth and hadn't made a sound. And I waited a few minutes more, my heart pounding. And then I started to walk, trying to see when I walked along that road, it made a circle and I could kind of see over the hill and down toward the neighborhood where this so-called meteor was heading. And I didn't see anything. There was nothing there. Everything was fine. So still shell-shocked even more because of what I saw. And then because honestly of what I didn't see, as I had expected some kind of disastrous event, I walked home in a daze. And again, between 2013, when they first asked me to channel their messages and to work with them, between that time and 2015, I worked with them on and off because I was unsure if I wanted to do this. I was unsure of who these beings were. Even though I had many conversations with them, I wanted to make sure that they were trustworthy, that I wasn't binding myself to beings that really had nefarious intentions. And so it was on and off, and there was a period of close to 8 months where I had decided, nope, I'm not going to do this. And those 8 months were the time where I had what I call the most flyovers. It was their way of telling me, we're here, and kind of nudging me. Now, since that time, I've come to know them, and they've become a really important part of my life, very integral. I see them as friends and as companions. I see them as allies for the people of Earth, along with their messages that have always been positive or have been lessons for us from their own history of wars and genocides. They are here to help us evolve. They are here to support us, to show us that in their long history, they have trodden down the same path that we have, and that we can overcome the aspects of ourselves that create war, that create divisiveness, that create hatred. And they also want to remind us, because I think at some level we know that we are capable innately of so much, that we are not world destroyers. Humanity really is meant to be world creators, is meant to be a large part of the universe, to join the galactic neighborhood, to join other beings in living in harmony. And so in 2017, in addition to documenting them, they also let me know that they would be bringing through and creating a portal and bringing in what they call healing light technologies. Now, this is a very simplistic term, because if they were communicating with a scientist, I'm sure they would be using much more precise language. But for me, what that means is that this is not magic. This is technology that they've created to help us heal. And since 2017, I have been working with these healing energies for myself, with clients, with groups, with the earth, with animals. And I myself have experienced great healing with their help, and others have as well. And so it was during this time where I had experience of what I thought was a meteor, that in their own way, they were trying to just nudge me, and I'll be truthful, pressure me a bit to come back into the fold, let's just say. So again, it was the summers of many such experiences. And in this case, with this photograph, I would like to enlarge it and show you some very interesting aspects. Again, this photograph was taken in February of 2021. And most of my photographs, I would say over 95% at this point, have been taken in and around my home. This one was taken in front of my front door, the driveway area. I take a lot of photographs here. So what I'd like to show you first is so you can recognize what's in the photograph. And I'm just going to put a little spotlight on, a little pointer here. Okay, so hopefully, move this up a bit. So hopefully here you can see this beam of this red dot. And the first thing I want to show you is the moon, so you can recognize what's of Earth, of our planet, and what's of the travelers. So here, this is the moon. And then below here is a tree. And everything else are the traveler energies. But the main thing first, of course, is this what looks like, I think comets have tails, what looks like a comet. But the interesting thing is when you get closer up, and you can see that what I call the head, the front part, it has almost this, it has this slightly triangular but conical shape. But the most interesting part of this photograph, if you can see it, are these ridge lines going across these sharp ridges, one on top of the other, starting almost at the top of the cone, or what I call the nose, and moving upwards to the top and not coming all the way into the whole head, but it would be here. Let me try. So you can see it right here in this area, in here. So as you can see, for those of you who think this is an insect flying in front of your lens, this is, I don't know, this is something else, this is a snowflake, this is Vaseline, it's not. Actually, this aspect with the ridge lines, I see it on other photographs, and in the future I'll be showing those. But as you can see, there's a density of white light energy within it. Another interesting aspect is almost here, you can see almost what looks like a cord coming from it. So what I'd like to share about that is that the travelers have told me that they're from a dimension that is higher in frequency, faster in vibration than others. So even though they're of energy, their energy cannot physically be in our dimension, as it is not vibrating or at the frequency of theirs, just as we can't go to theirs. So they've explained to me that they create what's called consciousness containers. They replicate in a holographic manner their consciousness, send those through, and for them, they are able to come and experience our world through these replicated consciousness, which when these return back to their dimension, they integrate these consciousness back into themselves. So what I believe that this is a traveler in a consciousness container. Now, the meteor I saw could have been a light ship. I don't really think it was this. I believe it was one of their light ships coming in. So in addition to that, the other aspect of this photograph that I would like you to take a look at, and let me enlarge it first, are these cylinders that are shooting across the sky. You can see that many of them, let me just pencil here. You can see that a number of them, see within this circle, this one here, they have these orbs within them, these denser orbs. And I believe these are travelers, again, traveling, coming into or within our dimension. And these are their consciousness container. So this was my experience of the meteor that was actually a UFO in the end. And again, this happened to me before I began to document them. So this photograph represents an image that is not exactly like what I saw, but the closest to it. So thank you for joining me. If you like what you saw, feel free to share, feel free to like. If you have any questions or comments, or if you're not subscribed and you would like to, so you can get notified of future episodes, I welcome you to do that. And thank you for those that have already subscribed and were with me again today watching this. Thank you very much. This is Brenda Selvin of the Travelers from the Stars.